Take Command Podcast, wrapping it up here with Logan Paulsen. I'm Craig Hoffman, and that leaves, Logan, what we've been hinting at all show long, which in some ways it feels like we're more excited to do than we are at the roster, in part because there's more intrigue here.
Yeah.
So let's do it. I'm going to make a little column out wide here for the practice squad, and I'm just going to start it up top. That way I can go line 1 through 16. And
let's do that.
That track's easy. All right, Fromm for sure.
Yeah. If they can get him there, I think they can. But that's an if. There will be a practice squad quarterback, and I would like to be Fromm.
Yes. Okay. So I'm gonna just do that.
Look at you, this formatting.
I know. The YouTube audience is excited. The radio or the podcast audience is like, why are they delaying? It's because I'm trying to make this legible. Okay. So Fromm for sure. I think one of the running backs.
I think Williams. Sure. I think Williams.
You think Williams over Patterson?
I just think he's got more game experience, and again, in a situation, an environment where you need a guy to play football. Like, I love Patterson. I think he had an excellent preseason. I think he'll be playing. He'll be on a team somewhere. But
and
I
should be.
I think
like
Williams
he's a guy that could show up in week 12 in Las Vegas and have 100 yards, and you're like, oh sure,
yeah.
And everyone will be mad here, but it just is what it is on that side of it.
Yeah.
The one thing I want to double check on Jonathan Williams,
he does have experience. He is one of those veteran guys.
Yeah.
So
he's played enough football that he's experienced 7 years. So he's one of our 6 guys. So I'm going to put a little asterisk by him.
Oh, look at you.
All right. Then you get to the tight end spot. I think you keep Dillon and Hodges.
You keep both, you think?
I mean,
I think you get to that. I think you get to that O line, that D line, and you're going to be like, "We can
never
only
mind."
keep one of them. I think so.
You're Mr. Tight End. Who do you want?
I think Dillon has had a better camp, but you keep a practice squad tight end because you think that one day they could start, and this is a coin flip to me. It really depends on how the guys in the room feel about him. I've been so disappointed with Hodges, just because I thought it was like when Armani got hurt. Like, it was there for him. They wanted to keep him, and he just didn't make enough plays. And Dillon is a guy who, like, Ron spoke very highly of. He was like, he's just done what we asked him to do. He doesn't make the same mistake twice, and there's an element of professionalism there. I think he counts against the veterans. I think he's played in Minnesota.
I think he played only one game.
Okay, so he doesn't.
In 19, 3 games in 20, 1 game in 21, so he doesn't count. Here's the other thing. Here's my counter argument to that. Is your project guy is still kind of Armani a year from now.
That's a good point.
And so if you need someone to come in
and play
and help you this year, Dillon is more reliable than Hodges.
It seems that way.
And it's kind of like, your boy, Samis last year.
Yeah.
Like, how many projects do you want in one room? And
well, it's funny because I think if you needed Hodges to play as like your Y, I think he could do it. I think he's okay in the run game. I think the thing that I'm waiting for is the pass game stuff. Yeah, so maybe it is Dillon. Maybe you're right.
Let's go with Dillon. Can't believe I just convinced you on a tight end.
Yeah, no, but
the comments are going to be on fire. Just let Logan do the tight ends.
In my heart, though, I agree with you because like Hodges is not. He didn't do what he should have done. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
So.
All right, so that gets us to the O-line. And by the way, it just feels worth mentioning, we didn't need Arma's spot. So that's one to watch for sure. But turns out we didn't need the Alex Arma spot. He can just make the roster on the front end. Okay. Scott.
I think Scott.
As your 4th tackle, he seems like a roster type of, like, he's on the practice squad. He's more of like a reserve team than a project.
Correct.
I think Brooks is project potential future starter at guard.
I think so too. I think, and especially because they gave him a little bit of extra money to sign. I think they want him around. So it'll be interesting to see if they can get him a practice squad because from what I understand in talking with his agent, there was a lot of interest in him. So if they can get him, great. I think they'll try really hard to keep him. So I would expect that to be the case. Yeah. And then of these next 2 guys, Laufenberg or Montero, I think you go Montero. I think they like Laufenberg a lot, but I think Montero's been a better player. And then do you keep 4 guys? Like, how many? What is that? That's 7?
That's 3 so far, and 7 total.
Gosh, that's tough. Because I really thought Jones Smith had an excellent camp, and I think he's got a lot of potential. He is 28 years old, though. So that's kind of late in the game for a project. So I think you probably go
Nah.
Laufenberg.
Yeah, I agree. All right, so you would keep then for Laufenberg. Okay.
Yep.
Kaz Allen for sure.
Yep. Tinsley.
I think Tinsley for sure.
I love
think
Bryson
that's.
Tremaine. I love.
I
Bryson
know you
Tremaine.
do.
I love him. Well, how many?
And I
Would that'd be 10? Yeah, that's tough. Do you keep? Yeah.
unless you're going to be really thin on the practice squad on defense,
Because
on the D line, you probably would be.
This is really interesting, I think, because like this is how it goes in the meeting. Like you get guys, coaches standing up on tables for guys, and the only thing I wonder is there someone in the building that's going to stand on a table for him? And I don't know.
For Tremaine?
Yeah, for Tremaine. Like I would, if I was in there after watching the preseason, after watching practice, after watching how he handled himself, I would stand on the table for him and say, I want this guy in the building. But is Katzer going to do it? Is, the receiver coach going to do it? Is Ron going to do it? Is EB going to do it? I don't know, because I think you ultimately need someone to be like, we need this dude on the roster on practice squad. And I don't know if he has that guy, unfortunately.
Yeah.
That's a tough one for me. I would be super sad if that happened, because I think he's a guy that I would, if Logan Paulsen is the GM of this team, he's on he's on 7 days a week and twice on Sunday kind of thing. But yeah,
well, you're not willing to give up Allen or Tinsley, are you?
I might. So I think I've been a little disappointed with Allen. I think people like him because of the return ability, but I think you've got a guy who's Cam Sims. He's going to be a good pro. He's going to make plays when he gets in there. He's going to play teams for you and have a nice, 7-8 year career just because of the professionalism. And I don't want that guy to walk out the room. And I know people are really high on Tinsley, but I think the physical skill set of Tremaine I'm a little bit higher on. But again, like this is the toughest decision, I think, here. And
if I'm in the room and you tell me you're willing to sacrifice Allen, I tell you that's our future starting punt returner, and he's going to score touchdowns and win us football games with big explosive plays.
And you know what I'm going to say to you is, like, I haven't seen him consistently catch punts in his whole career. So
because he hasn't had that many opportunities.
Right. But you want me to argue with you? That's what I'm going to say.
Right. No, 100%. And I'm going to pull up the broadcast of Brian Mitchell telling the punt return story and be like, hey, eventually this dude figured it out and he was pretty good at it. Let's give him some more time to learn, and he's going to catch 1,000 punts a day. That would actually probably take a very long time. He's going to catch 100 punts a day.
Sure.
And we're going to wear out the jugs machine. All right. So defense, practice squad guys. Who on the defensive line? I think Anderson for sure. I think, and then
Benny.
Platoe?
Yeah, I think Benny.
And then do you go? Oh man, we're running out of spots quick.
I know. I don't know that crazy, right?
I think when you keep the extra edge guys on the regular roster, you can afford to not have a backup.
I agree.
Like KJ Henry's your active practice squad guy.
Correct. Yes.
So sorry, William Bradley King, great dude. Not going to make it.
It had a good preseason, but that again, when you draft guys at the position, like that's tough, So,
all right, and then you've got linebacker. You keeping both Eifler and Harris?
Probably, because you're only keeping 6 active,
and that leaves
2 spots.
Right? 15, 14, 3 spots. 14, 15, 16.
Gosh, that's tough, dude. This is harder than the roster for real.
I know you love Smith, so I'm going to put Kendall Smith on.
Well, I think just because when people mention him, like in the pre-draft process, people really liked him. So, and I think he's played well enough. I think he's got some upside, So, and then as a DB, who do you keep? You need to keep an extra DB just in case someone gets hurt.
For sure.
Corner.
So, do you want Wild Goose, Whiteside, or Whitaker? I mean, you can keep 2 here. Unless you want to circle back and you get your guy Tremaine and you keep one and Jack's just mad. Hey, you got your 11 D lineman, but I'm getting the extra practice squad guys.
Yeah, I think it's Wild Goose, even though he had a hard time just because he's played. I mean, what do you think, Craig? Like Whitaker's been good, man. But he this is again.
I think Whiteside had the best camp of the 3.
What number is he?
23.
He did have a good training camp actually. So I think it's between Wild Goose and Whiteside for me, and maybe you keep both of them.
Well, we have the spot, so I would say we probably do that. Wild Goose is a guy who you trust more in the nickel. Whiteside, you trust more outside.
That's 16.
And that's your 16.
Wow, that was tough. I'm so sad Bryson Tremaine didn't make it, but that's life. So
You can make you're the GM of our team. You want to make one last second call?
Who else I would bump? You are keeping 4 linemen, which I think they did the same thing last year, so that makes sense they would do that. I want Tinsley. Allen is the only one I'm a little bit like, meh, but again, I think I understand why people are excited about him.
Can't believe you're doing that to your fellow Bruin.
I mean, I like him. I think, but he like in terms of
kicked out of the alumni association.
In terms of guys who played really, really well the second half of training camp, you're gonna have a harder time finding a guy better than Bryson Tremaine. He had an excellent fourth quarter against Baltimore. He scored a touchdown last night, or whatever night that was, Saturday. We're all playing together. So I don't know who else I would take off here. Maybe I'd take one of these DBs off, and put him on.
Wild Goose, yeah.
But I would, I'm mad if I'm the receiver coach. If Logan Paulsen's the receiver coach, but obviously I'm not. So.
We'll see what old Bobby Ingram's what he's thinking. How much sway he's got in the room.
I don't know. Like when you talk to people, there's not like this like light that lights up. Like people like him, but you gotta love him because that's what we're talking about, right? Like, do I love him enough to be like, hey,
standing on a table?
Yes, right. And I don't know.
I love that visual too. Just 50-year-old former football players standing on tables.
This is the guy. Yeah. So
love it. It's like, hey man, the depth chart's over there. It's not on the table. It's not. We're all okay. So that's it. That's our 53. That's our 16-man practice squad. Let's go back to Ben Standig, the king of cut down days Twitter. I haven't seen anything else get posted yet in terms of
that stuff.
In terms of cut. That, by the way, I hated cut down days beat reporter. Here, let me get you Ben's and then I'll tell you why. DeMarcus Fields, DB, has been released. DJ Sturgis and Joshua Kalu. Yeah. So these are like the down roster DBs. Isaiah Mack, who we pretty much knew was brought in late in camp, had a big encroachment penalty. Marcus Kemp and Farad Gardner, the linebacker. So those are the guys that have been cut so far. But like, it's just a day as a beat reporter of checking in with agents of the fringe guys and be like, hey, did your guy hear anything yet? And you're really asking him, did your guy get cut yet? It's just a brutal thing, but like, it's what you got to do. So Standig's got great relationships with agents. So he's a great guy to follow. Kime, obviously, the posts, Nikki and Sam, everybody does a really good job with all this stuff and doing a professional job on a tough day. But the 53 is coming, practice squad is coming, and we'll talk about it in our next pod. So that's it, and that's all for this very long podcast. And we'll see you next time on Take Command.